Hello, Greg. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for accepting our invite and welcome to Let's Talk About Data.
Thank you for having me, Mustafa. It's a pleasure for me to be there.
Yeah. So this session will be a great session because it's something where rest of the world is moving from centralized to decentralized uh,
Yeah.
ecosystem. So before we jump into our topic, can you please introduce yourself for our audience?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Gregor Zeiler. So the short version of Gregor is Greg. So it's easier to call me Greg, I think. So 30 years ago, I started my career in data analytics consulting. So I spent around about those 30 years in that space, and I get a lot of experience and implementation of data warehouse solution, data lakes, and so on, mainly in large enterprises. And about 20 years ago, I started thinking about automating data engineering processes because I'm a kind of a lazy guy and I don't want to repeat all those boring jobs while integrating data from huge amounts of data sources. So, based on that initiative, I built together with my team at that time the first data warehouse automation tool. And it was a consulting company backed with a kind of a framework, or it was really a product at the end of the day, of the first data warehouse automation tool specialized for SQL Server technology at the time. And after a while, so around about 8 years after that, I sold that company to an even larger company, consulting company, and we decided together to build a new data warehouse automation tool based on all the experiences we gained from the previous ones, and so that's around about the experience I achieved. So I was so let's say the last 15 years. I was mainly a vendor in the space of data analytics or data management based on those different tools in data automation. And at the end of the year 2023, I decided to exit that company and I founded a new company, which is now called DataStack. And with this company, I'm currently helping B2B data and AI ventures. So to reach product market fit faster so that they are able to succeed in their early stages. So that's what I want to do right now with my current company. And in this company, I use all the experiences from the past in the space of data management and also the experiences from my previous ventures in the area of the tools and the products in that space.
Okay, that's great. So we have a person who has created two, three tools and who love to automate stuff. And when we say automation, we go towards multiple tools and technologies. And I think it will be very relevant to discuss decentralized approach with you because when we are in centralized, uh, everything is one place.
Yeah.
And just to set the context, the world is moving towards data product concept, which was there since day one. But
Mhm.
since data mesh came in, they start talking about data products. And now
Yeah.
people are moving toward data product, but not the data product which data mesh is, because data mesh is more toward very strict technologies that you need to have a domains. Within each domain, you need to have your own products. Every
Mhm.
product should be connected to the other product. So all those limitations are there. But having said that, people still moving towards data products,
Yeah.
right? So all these challenges. So let's start on this one. How do you see this change? Let's go back because a year back I was a big fan of Centralized because we
Yeah.
have been working on enterprise warehouses, enterprise lake houses, right? Suddenly this bomb came onto us and this AI start coming into picture. That is where we realized no, small data products may also work. So
Yeah.
let's touch base centralized approach and then let's to come toward the decentralized.
Yeah. So, of course, because of my history of those 30 years, I experienced all those different stages, what you have mentioned. And I have to admit that I was really brainwashed a little bit about that centralized data approach. And for me, at that time, it makes a lot of sense to do it like this, because before that, you have different data sources, mainly the original data sources as a source for reporting. So they have embedded reporting capabilities, and you were not able to connect those different data sets to each other. So it made a lot of sense to connect the data from those different data sources, synchronize, harmonize that data, build a kind of a single source of truth, and then build the reporting out of that centralized approach. So that's still a capability what you need to achieve also with that decentralized approach, that you can rely on that data even if it's distributed to different data products right now. But in general, coming from that approach of centralizing data, there was always the lack of so let's say, agility or speed of implementation. And the more requirements there are, the less it was implemented from the centralized teams. So there was a lot of frustration about that approach, that only the centralized team can implement those things. And that's not that agile as you need it right now. And for that purpose, also many years ago, there was that initiative that everybody can build reports, for instance, on top of that centralized things with that self-service BI tools and so on. So it starts very early with that approach, that decentralized teams need to be able to manage or manipulate data and report data and prepare data. So that is not a thing what occurs only in the last few years with that data mesh or data products approach. It was always there, but the solution was different. Yeah. So, and I experienced also when the data lake topic appeared on the market, this was a kind of a first step towards that decentralization from my point of view, because with the data lakes, you may only implement those original data in the data lake, and everybody get access to the data lakes without that harmonizing data. It was a little bit faster. It was a little bit in the right direction of giving access to original data to everybody in the organization. But of course, the surroundings and the capabilities of those decentralized teams was not on that level that they are able to prepare the data and manage the raw data, if you want. So they would expect some kind of quality insurance and integrating of those data in the data lakes. So for me, the next step afterwards, so the 3 decades of different things what happened in the decentralization approach. So the next step, decentralizing also the data preparation with those data products. That's the final step in that direction, that decentralized data teams are able not only to manage reports on top of a centralized thing, but also managing their own data sets according to their own requirements. So that's the last step from my point of view.
Yeah, means their own data management piece.
Pipelines and data preparation based on maybe other data products or the outcome of other data products or original data sources. So that's the big difference. So that not only the last level of the data management, the reporting part was decentralized, but also the preparation part and the pipelines and everything what's inside the back end of those solutions.
Yeah. So just to bring another perspective or angle into this decentralized approach, right? Because in my point of view, as we mentioned that last time there was in centralized, there was a centralized data warehouse, which started with Bill Inmon, 3NF, right? Then Kimball came in on subject area basis. You start creating star schema and Snowflake.
Yeah.
And when we talk about decentralized, I think the idea did not came that, okay, everybody can have their own data models. So data model, correct me if I'm wrong and put some light onto it. Data model can still be same, but based on the data domains, decentralized teams can come and complete their whole pipelining from source up to the reporting, considering still same infrastructure, still same if you are having a 3NF. We are right now not talking about data vault and Focal where you can have a set your own data models. Let's first
Mm.
discuss you have one 3NF where you have customer, where you have finance, where you have audit all data models in one place, segregated with the domain, but different teams comes and they populate their own data sets and take it to their own semantic and take it to the Power BI. Can we also call this as a decentralized approach? Not as a decentralized product, but decentralized approach.
Yeah, that's a good question in terms of when you think about that, almost every organization has a kind of a centralized implementation of
Mm.
a data warehouse or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And they will not skip that centralized thing and build everything from scratch with this decentralized part.
yeah.
So you will have an existing centralized structure, and if this works in terms of all those capabilities of data integration, harmonizing the data and things like that, you should not skip that approach. But in addition to that, maybe this could be a source what you can use for additional data products. If you have the need to implement additional things, you
Mhm.
can use that decentralized approach to pick up some centralized structures and do those additional things on the decentralized part.
Mhm.
So depending on so you have mentioned the modeling approach. So that's a big discussion, and I experienced that in the data warehousing area. So you have mentioned starting with the 3NF approach, then with the dimensional approach, and later on with the data vault approach. So all those different approaches have different purposes. So the dimensional purpose was more related to the outcome, so more structuring the data so that's easier to report and analyze the data, whereas data vault and maybe also 3NF is more related to organize the data in a way that is quite flexible to integrate additional data from
Yeah,
different additional data sources. So it's more related to the integration problems and less to the reporting problems. Because if you want to report the data vault model, you will struggle a lot with the so horrible data structure in terms of using that data structure to report. You have again build some kind of semantic or dimensional models on top of that data structure so that you are able to report that data again. So I think data modeling in general depends on the approach, and in those centralized large solutions, it makes sense to think about make it easier to integrate data, make it a little bit more resistant against changes of structures. So it makes sense to implement those data vault structures for the integration of the data, but making it a little bit easier to analyze it, it's more related to that dimensional approach. And when it comes now to that point of view, how to organize or how to architecture and model data products, it depends on so let's say the scope of those things. So from my point of view, I experienced a lot of discussions on that. So I think this discussion will appear a little bit later on, but in general, I think data products are modeled more or less without that strict standards what we experienced in the part. So that's a little bit what I see right now, and nobody knows, is this a dimensional modeling approach or is this more a relational modeling approach? It is like it is, however you call it right now. But if this makes sense, this will be an additional discussion. I think you will mention that a little bit later.
Yeah. See, that is where I'm coming towards, right? I'm happy to discuss with you, with the person come from complete data background. So I'm very free to blindly talk all technologies with you. I know you will understand that. See, for me, data product is not a technology. For me, data product is a business requirement, what you want to achieve. As I'm advocating nowadays, these 4 pillars, which I say question, answers, action, and value generation. So either these 4 pillars, missing, your product is gone. So whatever you want to achieve, if you want to achieve or build a product, you always have actions to take. You need an action, right? And action is reason because you want to generate some value, right? So now you have an action, you want to do something and you want to generate a value. Now you want to create a product. When you want to create a product, you will always have questions, that these questions I will ask from this product, and this product will answer me those products, answer or slash insights, give me insights, which will help me to take the action. And of course, action will deliver a value. So these 4 pillars is for me is a one data product. It's a logical, it's a business thingy, nothing to do with technology. Now, technology comes later. Okay, product is, for example, okay, for enterprise decisions where MD or CEO group level want to take a organization level, then yes, you will end up going creating a 3NF. But if a product is for particular thing, you may end up creating data vault or focal or anchor or a dimension. What do you think about from looking from this angle of decentralization? That decentralization is not about breaking infrastructure into many infrastructures. No, it's not about that. It's about giving capability to certain teams to build their own product, and a logical product, not a physical.
That's a great question and discussion, because there are so many different points of view on data products. So I fully agree with you that in general, the idea behind what I would interpret it is that there is a dedicated requirement, so the need for providing data in a certain state. And this kind of preparation is handled like a product. So the term product means for me that there is a dedicated responsibility on what you are producing and the quality what you are producing. And if somebody else is consuming that, you will provide some service level on that, how you want to provide that data product. So on the other hand, there is some interpretation or definition that the data product is, so let's say, the infrastructure behind that, what you need to prepare that kind of data. So from my personal point of view, the result, what you produce or generate or develop based on all those steps inside your data product, is the result, the data product. So the result and the infrastructure is always a kind of misleading in the definition. So, but in general, it's not that important. The most important thing in that data products approach is that somebody cares about, cares about the responsibility that data is prepared like this, and is continuously maintained, that the level of quality, if you consume the data, in a couple of times, it will always on a certain level what you can expect from that. So that the responsibility on caring about those things, that's the main topic from my point of view.
Yeah.
So that somebody cares about those things, and the motivation that the product is born is mainly driven by business need. So
Yeah.
I fully agree on that. And when we step back to that centralized approaches, maybe you remember the term business driven or data driven. Yeah. So business driven is the same thing what we currently discuss in relation to data products. So somebody needs a kind of a data set for their business needs, and that's the business driven approach, that there is a dedicated business need, and based on that the business need you prepare a set of data. The data-driven approach was mainly implemented in those centralized solutions. So when you discuss the business need with, at that time, 20 years ago or 30 years ago with the business areas, you get not that information what you really need for implementing that centralized approach. So what was the consequence? The consequence was that everybody is connecting to all those data sources, grabbing all the data what's inside, trying to harmonize that data and provide that data for everybody, even if nobody needs that kind of data. Yeah. So that was the approach, and I think the more decent, or the more you move to the decentralized approach, the more it's business driven, motivated.
Yeah.
So nobody. So maybe there are some initiatives again. What remembers me to the data driven approach, that you have base data products and you have to think about data domains, and you can prepare those data domains. And of course, it's always a kind of a combination of both things. But the main driver should be the business-driven part and not the data-driven part. So it should not be driven by, okay, that's the set of data I have in all my data sources, put it in data domains and
let's see
provide it to a data
what we can
marketplace.
make it out of. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, for me, that's not the right approach, and that brings me back to that what you have asked in combination with the existing data warehouse solutions. So I think there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of work inside those centralized solutions. You shouldn't skip that, but when you extend your solution, it should be business driven, motivated. So then there's a dedicated need for a data product. Then you can implement the data product, maybe use some centralized structures from that centralized data warehouse solutions, what are already existing. And maybe if you have changes in that base requirements, maybe you will substitute over time parts of that centralized data warehouse part.
Yeah.
So it
can be other way around as well. So as you are saying, right, that centralized is already there. You end up creating a product. So centralized can be your source, right? Which gives an idea that it does not mean when we talk about data product, we are talking about decentralize everything, infrastructure, break infrastructure, get rid of enterprise. We are not saying that. Again, data product is something from which you can ask question, get the answer, based on those answers, you can do the action and generate value. That data product, who knows, can be one dashboard. Who knows? It can be a one dashboard, which is taking data from enterprise warehouse, right? Now, coming back to your point that here enterprise warehouse is the source for that small data product. And we are saying that maybe in future we dig out that piece of data model from there and make it a standalone data model to serve that product.
Right.
Now, the other example can be you start a data product, you build a separate data model, which can be a data vault or focal or anchor, and you serve a dashboard or whatever it is, front-end application. And who knows, tomorrow you merge this into enterprise. That can also happen. Or who knows, another scenario can be this can run as is, and this can have another copy into enterprise because this product becomes so important that you want to release this to rest of the world in the
Yeah,
organization. You bring
yeah,
it to, so both see, that's why I want to bring this upfront that data product does not mean you get rid of what you have right now. Right?
yeah.
Like you have now.
That's true. So that wouldn't make sense because you have spent a lot of efforts for
Yeah.
many years to prepare all those data, and this data is still used for the continuous reporting, for instance. So, but if you have additional requirements, it's maybe harder to implement that in that centralized part, and then you can build a specialized data product. So similar things happened also in the past when you think about the data mart approach on top of the data warehouse. So if there is an additional requirement, you can build an additional data mart providing the specific needs behind. But in general, I think the decentralization based on the data products will be much broader than a couple of different data marts. So that there will be
Yes.
tons of additional different things, maybe also preparing the point of view on your data in a different way than you have it already implemented in the centralized data warehouse. So that could be for a special use case that you want to interpret the revenues a little bit different than it's standardized in your existing solution. So for different purpose, that could happen. And for that purpose, you can implement that in a different way. So the big difference between those data mart approaches and those things, what you have mentioned right now, in terms of comparing that with the data products approach, is that a data product itself should be really reliable in all those things so that it's available over 99% of the time, for instance. So it depends on the data and the usage of the data. So there should be a kind of service level, and the responsibility on that being reliable, providing a certain level of data quality in that data product, that's a little bit different. And that's an additional challenge for all those business areas who are doing those data products right now. Because I experienced in the past that they are doing a lot of data engineering, but they are doing it one time. Yeah, they are doing it, not maintaining the existing solution.
I'm coming to that as well because that brings data product brings the product ownership concept.
Yeah,
That is one of the biggest challenge because the ownership does not mean only ownership. Ownership is if you're building a mesh, you have a domain owner.
yeah,
Then you have product. For product, there has to be a business owner and there has to be a technical owner. Both has to be. So this ownership will become a challenge, I feel. What do you say about that before I put my my take on it? Yeah. What do you think about this ownership? Because the ownership, I think it will become a biggest challenge, right? I'm not talking about business ownership because yes, if you start a data product, there is a business owner, right? But who will maintain it? That's a technical product owner. What do you say about those things?
Yeah, so I want to compare it a little bit with an organizational structure. Of course, you have a CTO and a sales officer and also those departments. But at the end of the day, there's a CEO which is responsible for everything. Yeah, even if this person is not able to perform the details of the jobs. Yeah, but there's one person who is responsible for that. And I think it should be the same, even if this configurates some concepts in the area of data mesh. But that's my point of view. There should be a single person who is responsible for the data product and is responsible for all those aspects. Not dividing those things in technical things and business things and so on. So because from my personal feeling, it's sometimes it's hard to divide is this a technical problem? Is this a business problem? Who should
Yeah.
solve that problem? Who is responsible for that problem? So there should be one guy who is caring about the data product and covering the whole responsibility, not dividing that in different things like those 3 dimensions what you have mentioned. That's my personal point of view. So it's not
Let's discuss this further.
according to some concepts and that those
Yeah.
things. Sometimes I have the feeling that when somebody is developing such concepts, there's a lot of theoretical ideas behind, and all those theoretical ideas make sense. But if you want to execute that in practice, then it's a little bit hard to follow all those concepts in detail. We have mentioned the data vault concept. So there are a lot of different parts inside the data vault. And if you look really in real implementation, they pick up 20–50% of those concepts, but the very details which are high sophisticated, they don't implement those things.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. So, and I think the same occur in that data products approach or data mesh approach and all those concepts behind. So I think there should be a single responsibility on the data product. Yeah, so similar to a kind of organizational concept, and this person should cover all the problems, maybe with the support of additional persons which are prepared to cover the technical part, to prepare the business part, and so on. But dividing those things in different areas, I don't have the feeling that this will bring you forward in terms of that there is a common point of view of the data product. So if you have those different responsibilities, everybody is moving the problem to the other part of the
that
game.
is where I'm coming.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me elaborate what I meant, and I think we can still debate on it. It will be a very healthy debate. See, for me, when you create a data product, of course, there is a business owner, as I mentioned. And when I say technical owner, right? Technical owner means who will manage the blueprint of the product. Because once you end up having so many data products, someone has to manage technologies. And if you end up creating so many small models and small technologies, after some time, you will have tons of products and there will not be any usability. I personally feel there should be a separate team, which a term is coming, data practice management term is coming, who should own all products technically side as well. Of course, this team should also know the business perspective, but they don't own business perspective. That is the business owner. Now, this team, we can argue, can be a one team for the whole organization, or maybe one dedicated team for sales domain, one dedicated team for marketing domain, or that can be debatable. But I feel there has to be a one team separately sitting into the blueprint that, hey, one business comes and say, hey, another comes, I want this. Hey, we have already built something. We have a blueprint. Right now, in past, we had warehouse, and which is, if you go towards 3NF was very simple. If you go towards dimensions, you remember we used to have cubes, right? We end up creating cubes, but nobody dared to delete those cubes because the people who created left the company. Now, as Gartner says, 75% project sits on shelves, right? So there's a reason. Reason being who created has left. Now, technical owner was not there, business owner was there. Now, technical owner should have be reporting on a monthly basis. Hey, this is what the value, that is what the OPEX, and this is the adoption. This role people can keep moving, business owners, but value generation will be reported by all this technical. When I say technical, it's not pure technical, I would say. It's a people who is the blueprint owner. They keep reporting to the top management that this is how your product, and keep decommissioning product as time. So what do you think from that angle? Because that is nowadays one of the key item I'm struggling to talk about.
So yeah, that kind of point of view, I fully agree with you. So, but I would not call those guys technical owners. So I experienced in the past, if somebody is called an owner, the business areas compete to the technical owner because they want to decide for themselves. So what I try to achieve is lower the hurdle for the acceptance of those things. I fully agree with you that if you distribute the responsibility of preparing data, you have to care about a certain state of standardization using different technologies, doing some governance on your data,
The business owner does not care what technology you're using. And I feel
it's not important from my point of view. They should not invent an additional technology in your organization because that's quite inefficient. So there should be a kind of a guidance. Maybe some areas of the organization will prepare a set of different technology stacks for different data product types. Yeah, so you can prepare them and said, okay, this data platform should be used, this data integration tool should be used, and so on. And you package those things as a kind of a provisioning infrastructure. If somebody needs product type A, yeah, then you click a button and it's provisioned to that team and everybody can start working. So that's important because then you have a kind of a governance in terms of the tooling and the usage of the tooling and things like that. If you call them owners, you will experience the opposite what you really achieve. Business owners will invite new technologies and let them play somewhere else. Yeah.
So let me add one more angle. Why I'm saying these that every product should have two owners. One is business, second is technology. And technology owner will support many products, not one product. But business product owner will own one product. Bare minimum, na. So they can be one-to-one many product as well. Right? Yeah. Why I'm saying that? Because I also want to take, how to put it, I feel business owner should not be able to take a call which technology to use.
Yeah.
There is a reason. For me, the reason is business owners are always traveling and they are going on conferences, on workshops, where big vendors projecting their products. Yes, a lot of ideas, and they are projecting their products, right? Maybe I'm big offensive to them, but that's the reality. And whatever they sell works 40 to 50%. Rest 50-60% doesn't work. But if that thing is brought by business owners and say, hey, use this technology.
Yeah.
As a technical people, we can't say no, right? And the moment we implement it, ROI is not matched, capability is not matched, your 2 months project goes to 6 months, all those challenges.
So I fully agree with you. And in general, when you step back, what you try to achieve in general in an organization is that business owners or business departments should be able to prepare their data for their specific needs as fast and easy as possible. So that's the main thinking behind the decentralizing approach. And for that purpose, it would be the easiest way to enable them and provide them the right data infrastructure behind, so that they can start immediately with their work. So I think 99% of the business owners don't care about what kind of technology they want to use. They are more maybe motivated that somebody else has influenced them. Okay, if you use that, you will succeed with your initiative. So that's the problem. So the motivation behind that is they want to succeed with their business initiative. And what you have described, the guys who are caring about the base setting of the infrastructure and the tooling for all those data products, they should think about how they can serve the best way those business users, yeah, and make their life as easy as possible. So that should be the motivation, without caring about, okay, I'm the responsible person who decide for you what technology you
That
need to
attitude
use. So
also comes.
yeah, if you are a business user and you want to start with data products, and I'm the other guy, for instance, I should ask, okay, what do you need? I will provide you the best thing what you need to have for your requirements. So, and I care about, yeah, that at the end of the day, your result will be able to communicate with other results. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's not your problem, but that's the general problem of the organization, that there should be a kind of a interoperability between those data products. Yeah. And that's not only a technical problem, that's only a domain problem. So that's the third pillar, what you have mentioned in your thing. But the first two things, having the business requirements from the business owner and the technical part, which provides all the infrastructure and the policy and the governance and everything what's needed to implement those things, that's one thing. And the third thing, caring about the organization of all those data products in terms of covering different data domains and caring about the interoperability, so that keys are working over the borders of those data products. So that's a third thing, and that's the most complicated thing from my point of view, which will occur in the next few years more and more, because the generation of data products will grow faster than you are able to organize that part of the game. Yeah. So I would assume that when organizations now moving from that centralized approach to that decentralized approach, it will generate a lot of trash.
Gaps will come there.
Yeah,
Visibility will come there.
Yeah, and after a while, you have a couple of different data products. You experience, okay, they are not connected to each other. Let's re-engineer them, or rethink the structure of those things. But don't start with that organizing data domains and allowing different data products only doing that, because then you step back to that centralized thinking. Yeah, so let them play, even if there's tons of overlapping, tons of different interpretations and so on. So that's my point of view. And after a while, you are able to re-engineer that stuff what's already implemented. Yeah, so then you can enhance the structure, coming back to a kind of a standardization again, ensuring the interoperability of those data products, getting more quality in the decentralized stuff. Yeah, so and then the reusability of those data products will be better than in the first steps, and so on. So that's what you will achieve after a while, yeah, when you are able to re-engineer what's already implemented. But don't stop implementing, caring about data domains. That will absolutely counter-correct that decentralized approach and bring you back to that centralized thinking. Yeah.
See, I absolutely agree. What you're, in other words, saying is, don't limit your product because it is from a certain domain and you need that domain owner's approval, or you have to stick with. So you are going from a big centralized to small centralized approaches. That I agree. So we should not stop that. But I think we are all agreeing that that small team need to be there to have this blueprint, right? Now, coming towards, you want to say something before I come towards data quality? Because for me, data quality will also become a big challenge in small data products.
Yeah, in terms of that, what we have discussed right now, to provide the tooling to those data products teams, I experienced that there is the need for tools which help you to manage those infrastructure settings, the composition of data products in terms of tooling. So the new products in the market, what you can use for that kind of purpose, that you prepare a different set of different types of data products, and then provision those things to the data product owners or the data product team so that they can use those things. That's new because in a centralized world where there's only one infrastructure behind, you don't have to think about multiply different things 100 times.
And this time, now it will not be, as you mentioned, it will not be one-to-one for each product. It will vary based on the use cases. Who knows? 3 data product use cases can serve with the 2 infrastructure, or vice versa.
Or 3.
Or 3. So who knows? So that combination, someone has to manage. I agree on that.
So, and that's a new part of the game where there is already existing software which can help you to manage those things. Provision those infrastructure, prepare data product settings, provision governance rules, and so on, so that you are able to standardize those different or decentralized solutions. So that's an important part of the game. And in this case, when you move a centralized organization to a decentralized organization, of course, maybe data platforms, data integration tools, the reporting tools, everything is already available. But what's not available is the tool which manages the provisioning for all those different tools to those different data teams. And you have to care about access rules and many other things because of those decentralizations. So that's a little bit more complex, but you get a lot of agility with these decentralized approaches.
So you are referring towards the observability that will become centralized monitoring and observability, right? So that brings another challenge. Before I go into, we have a time check of 10 minutes. So before we go into data quality, I feel, as you mentioned this piece, data lineage will also become a big challenge. Last time you wanted to do you were doing a data lineage in centralized, which still we could not achieve because of the metadata moving here and there. Now, what do you say about data lineage into decentralized approach? Will that not become a bigger challenge?
Of course, based on that decentralizing of those things. But in general, it's like developing the software when you have a couple of different modules, and each modules have a kind of an API which relates to different other parts of the software. And with data contracts, you have a kind of a description of what you will provide as a data product, as a result set of your data product to other consumers, for instance. And this kind of description will help you to move through data lineage. You will not be able to step in the details inside the data product, perhaps, to clarify all those different data management steps inside the data product. But you can step from data contract to data contract if you have a kind of a chain using different result sets from different data products based on that data contract. So that will help you to stand that challenge of the decentralized lineage problem, what you have mentioned. And I think when you really follow that responsibility of the data product owner, it's not important the details of the data management inside the product. The most important thing is the description of the outcome.
Absolutely.
And that's the data contract, and based on those descriptions of the data contract, which covers what you have already mentioned, also the quality level of the data and the availability of the data and so on. So there are additional things what's covered inside the data contracts, but covering the data lineage or of your whole network will be supported by that data contract structure as well. So I think, of course, it will be more complicated, but based on that way that you standardize those APIs between data products based on data contracts, it will be a reliable source for managing the data lineage on top of the data products.
You mentioned you need to have that tool which can give you enterprise level of monitoring or observability from day one. You need that because this era has just started, AI era. It's not mature. That is the reason people are still in the R&D mode right now. The moment this success start coming in, go. Data products will come like anything. So if your monitoring tool is not there. So we have a time check again for 8 minutes. Let's our last topic, touch-based data quality. Because data quality has been a biggest challenge in centralized as well, because once you start implementing data quality, and let me bring data governance as well. So when you implement this data quality as a wholesome, because we all know data governance and data quality was one of those use cases management never want to approve the budget for, right? So because we want to implement at a holistic level. But now when we go toward decentralized and data product, what is the importance of data quality? And let me add, for me, from my end, data quality is based on the use case. It should not be generic data quality. When I say generic data quality, data standardization need to be generic. Of course, if you have multiple date formats, you must standardize it. You must remove the special character. You must remove the null value XY. The standardization is separate. I'm talking about the actual data quality, which is for the whole pipeline, right? For me, that depends on which use case you have. What do you think about implementing data quality standard based on the data product level?
In general, you need to do it on that level because what I have already mentioned is that the data contracts not only consist about the data structure, but also the data quality, what you will provide with that data set somebody else can consume from you. And nobody can take a look inside your data product. They only can take a look on the result of the data product, what they will consume. And you, as a product owner, can describe the quality level and how you define the data quality of the data set, what you will provide. So you have to manage the data quality for that, what you provide with the data product for your own inside the data product. Yeah. So that's one thing. And the other thing what you have mentioned is, of course, when you have so let's say different structures or metrics, there should be a kind of a definition behind that metrics. Also, that kind of definition should be recognized inside the data contract so that everybody is aware of that, what you can expect from that data. So maybe this includes data like this. Maybe you have excluded data rows with low data quality, what you receive from your sources, for instance. So that should be recognized also in the description of the data contract, and so that everybody else is aware of that, what you can expect from the data. There should be, because you have mentioned governance as well, there should be, besides that, what we have discussed with the tooling and the general governance of the infrastructure, there should be also some kind of policies. What should be, so let's say, the base level of data quality, what the data product should provide, besides the quality topics, what you will define as the data product owner for yourself in terms of the use case, what you are supporting. And those base level data quality topics should be provisioned as a kind of rule as well from a centralized team from my point of view, so that everybody needs to do a base level quality assurance for that data. So that should be covered by policies, for instance. So if there is no quality assurance on that base level inside the data product, there should be a red light on that policy that you are not able to provide that results at the data marketplace, for instance, if you don't recognize that base level data quality, what's defined in a general policy and provision to a data product as well. So that kind of policies should check the code inside the data product, and if there is a rule which recognizes that this kind of pre-definition of data quality is recognized in the code, then it's okay. And in addition to that, as a data product owner, you can add additional things which are important in terms of your specific use case. So that's my point of view. So there are, in terms of governance and data quality, there are also some, so let's say, centralized managed base rules necessary, so that you can assure a certain level from a centralized responsibility of a chief data officer, for instance, which should care about that some compliance rules, some GDPR rules, and other things like that are recognized in those different data products.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. In fact, today itself, I wrote an article on CDO and CIO. So why these roles are so, turnover is so high. But never mind. Again, thank you so much. It was a great session, Greg, and it was a pleasure. And I'm sure I already added you into our group. So we will have more sessions. It was a pleasure talking to you. We can discuss many other things.
Yeah.
And I think let's continue these things at least in a quarter. You give me a time, and we do at least a quarterly, if not quarterly, at least a 6 months. We should do something like this.
Yeah, would really enjoy that. So I enjoyed the discussion for today as well.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to further discussion, going in more details and discussing other topics from time to time.
Definitely.
So thank you very much for the nice session today. And have a nice day.
You too have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.